Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out-of-this-world story from rSpace. They say cheaters never win, but some people are unfortunately determined to test that theory. Today on rSpace, it's the classic move. Accuse you first, keep you guessing, and hope everyone forgets the truth while they play a victim. Cheating wife told everyone I was cheating on her, so I created a group chat and showed everyone the evidence. My wife, Alicia, and I have been married for 4 years, 29 female and 30 male. We both met while we were working in sales in the same company. I hated the hustle of the job and I wanted to get into something more in line with my strengths. So I brushed up on my programming skills and eventually moved into software development. We've both always been sort of the introverted type. My wife can turn on the charm and she's great with people, so she does well in her career. But outside of work, she loves to stay home and enjoy a quiet evening reading a book or watching a movie. Unlike her, I'm not much of a people person. I hated all the people-pleasing and politics in sales, which is why I was so eager to switch careers. There's still some company politics in software development too, but hardly as much as there was in my old career. And apart from the endless unnecessary meetings, I get to spend most of my day in front of my computer, not talking to anyone. After work, it's books and movies for me too, and sometimes a video game. It worked great for us. We haven't had kids yet, but it's been a discussion for a while. We were both pretty broke when we got married, and things just started looking up for us in the last couple of years. We were planning to start trying in a few months if everything had gone well. Unfortunately, it all turned around, and it felt like it came out of nowhere to me. Things have been going good for us for a while, and then they suddenly took a nosedive. It was like my wife was suspicious of everything I did. She wasn't outwardly rude or anything. It was mostly just small looks and asking one question too many whenever I told her that I was going somewhere or had to stay late at work. I couldn't figure out why she was acting that way. As far as I knew, I'd done nothing wrong. Eventually, I had enough. I took my car to the mechanic to deal with a weird sound, and when I came back, she was completely frosty to me. I asked her what was wrong, and she just told me she was fine. If you know anything about women, then you know that she obviously wasn't fine. I pressed the issue, and she eventually snapped and said she knew that I hadn't been to the mechanic. I was so surprised by that I just stood and stared at her. I was surprised that she'd gone from cold and to angry in no time. But I was even more shocked because I definitely had been to the mechanic. I asked her what made her think that, and she just said she knew I'd been running around with my other woman for weeks now. I was almost speechless. Just for the record, I wasn't cheating on her. I've never cheated before, not even once. I despised the act. I had an ex who cheated on me as a way to end our relationship, and it messed with me for a long time. She knew how I felt about cheating. I fought my instinct to shout at her and asked why she thought I was cheating. She said she just knew I was. When I asked her for proof, she told me that she didn't need any. Her intuition was never wrong. I told her I wasn't satisfied with a flimsy answer like that. If she was going to accuse me of something like that, then she needed to have a good reason. She insisted that she didn't have to justify herself to me because we both knew I was cheating. I said she was being ridiculous, and I even told her I could show her the invoice from the mechanic. She said she didn't want to see it because it wouldn't prove anything. I couldn't believe how stubborn she was being. The whole thing was ridiculous. We went back and forth arguing for a while, and in the end, she admitted that she didn't have any proof. She just said she had a feeling that something was different in our relationship, and she thought that it might have been me cheating on her. The argument ended with her crying and apologizing. I wasn't ready to forgive her yet. The whole accusation was so out of left field for me that it took me quite a few days before I started to consider what it could have meant. That she was projecting her guilt onto me because she was the one having an affair. I hadn't noticed any signs of her cheating, but it made sense to me. She'd gone from enjoying spending her evenings in to hanging out with friends once in a while. I'd trusted her fully before, but now I had doubts as to whether she was actually meeting up with her friends at all. She never came home drunk, and she wasn't out too late, but a lot could happen in 2 or 3 hours. Over the next few days, she overcompensated by trying to act like everything was normal. She was sweet all the time, and more touchy and affectionate than usual. I still hadn't fully forgiven her, and I was distant and quiet. She tried to initiate sex a few times, but I turned her down each time. I couldn't go through with it now that I had the idea that she could be cheating in my head. I could tell it bothered her, but she pretended everything was fine and kept trying to butter me up. Normally, I wouldn't have entertained the possibility of her having an affair, but her recent behavior just made it seem more likely. She was trying too hard. It felt like she was making up for some more than just accusing me. I knew it would drive me crazy if I didn't confirm it once and for all, so I used the age-old method of going through her phone to look for evidence of an affair. She'd been careful about her affair. They mostly texted while she was at work, and they'd limited their meetings to 1 or 2 hour windows after work and in the evenings. enough time for them to do what they wanted without raising too much suspicion on my end. Until she'd overreacted and accused me of having an affair for no reason. They've been doing this for months, and if not for that slip-up, they probably would have gotten away with it for a long time. I was stunned, but I was more angry than sad. Finding out that my wife had been cheating on me was bad enough, but what I really couldn't stand was the fact that she tried to blame me. I'd heard stories of cheating wives projecting onto their husbands, but it felt unreal to actually have it happen to me. I knew there was no saving our relationship from this, though. The only logical way forward was splitting up, and I knew I had to think ahead to make it through unscathed. The first thing I did was record every single one of their messages with my phone. There weren't that many to go through. Like I said, they only talked when she was at work, and even then, they kept it short. I sat on the evidence for a few days. I wasn't sure what to do. On a purely logical level, I knew there was no saving our marriage. She'd gone too far, and I didn't love her anymore. The next few days confirmed I could barely stand the sight of her, and just the sound of her voice pissed me off. Whenever she looked at me, I just imagined her in bed with her affair partner. I've talked myself into filing for divorce, and I haven't confronted her about it yet. I kind of feel like there isn't much point. She's not going to say anything that will make this any better. It feels like I'd just be stirring up a bunch of drama for no reason. I just want to give her the divorce papers when they're ready, and then get her out of my life. Is that a mistake, or is there a better way to approach this? Accusing you of cheating when you've been faithful only to discover she's the one having an affair is a blatant attempt to gaslight and control you. She weaponized suspicion to make you doubt yourself, while she was the one secretly breaking your trust. She's already shown that she's incapable of honesty, accountability, or respect, and trying to have a conversation about it would likely just give her more room to twist things or create drama. Hand her the papers. Update. Thanks all for the support on my last post, and thanks for sharing stories of you guys going through the same thing. It's crazy how common it is for cheating partners to throw blame around. I guess it's impossible to trust someone when you know you can't be trusted yourself. I waited until the divorce papers were ready before I told my wife. I knew. She'd already realized that something was off before then. I didn't try hard to hide the fact that I had a problem with her. She asked me several times if everything was okay, but I never gave her an answer. I wasn't ready to. When I finally told her that I wanted a divorce, she just sat down heavily and said she knew it was coming. Then she asked if it was because she accused me of cheating. I told her that was only a small part of it. The main reason was that I knew for a fact she was actually cheating on me. Then I told her about everything I'd found on her phone. She'd put her face in her hands and didn't say anything for a while. I stood there, waiting for her to actually say something. When she spoke, she shocked me yet again. She didn't deny cheating on me, but she said it wasn't a big deal because I was cheating on her too. That was when I completely flipped out. I couldn't believe she was still going on with this fantasy about me cheating on her. I didn't want to start arguing with her about it again because I knew she would go in circles. I told her that she should either show me proof that I was cheating or she should shut up about it. She didn't do either. She just kept claiming that I knew she was right, and that was why I'd gone through her phone. I realized she was turning the entire conversation away from what she'd done wrong, but I didn't care. I didn't need her to explain why she decided to cheat. I already had proof that she was guilty, and that was enough for me to decide to move on. I wasn't going to let her pull me into some meaningless argument about whether I'd actually cheated on her. I packed my things and left the same day. In the next few weeks, I focused mostly on the divorce and thought I could put her false accusations out of my mind, but she was still fixated on it. I was just minding my business, working on a personal project after work, when I got a call from my mom. She said she'd just heard something bad about me, and she was really hoping it wasn't true. I immediately knew it had to be from my wife, but I didn't have any idea of what it could actually be. When my mom told me that Alicia had told her that I'd cheated on her, I knew there was no way to be civil with her. I know I'm going to get some comments about controlling the narrative, so I'd like to point out that I'd done exactly that. After I moved out of the house, I called everyone who mattered and told them about the divorce and why it was happening. I didn't hide anything about her infidelity, though I didn't give any more details than necessary. Alicia hadn't denied any of that, just like she hadn't denied it when I confronted her. But she'd gone around telling everyone that I'd cheated on her too. According to her, we should have been able to discuss things and work it out since we'd both cheated. I was furious to hear that she'd been lying about me to my mom, and I wondered how many other people she'd been lying to as well. I told my mom the truth, that Alicia had been accusing me of cheating on her to cover up her guilt from her own affair, and that I'd never cheated on her. She had no proof that I'd been cheating. If she asked Alicia for a single detail of my so-called affair, she'd draw a blank. Meanwhile, I had concrete evidence. I was glad that was enough to convince her. She was disappointed to hear that Alicia had made up a story to make herself look better. She'd always liked Alicia, and she couldn't believe she was capable of what she'd done. I didn't blame her. I'd been surprised to find out what she was really like too. I called a few more people to get an idea of how many people Alicia had been talking to. It turned out to be a lot of them. She'd reached out to most of our friends and family with the same lies she'd told my mom. I told them all the truth. I didn't talk to Alicia about it. Instead, I went straight to my lawyer. I wanted to find out if there was anything I could do legally about the lies she was spreading. He told me that slander and defamation were things I could pursue, but the court wouldn't take it too seriously if I couldn't prove that my career or reputation had been damaged in some tangible way. I knew that would be hard to prove in court, so I let the idea go, but I wasn't done with her. I wanted to make sure everyone knew the truth. I told my lawyer my plan, and he advised me to wait until after the divorce was settled. That was easier said than done. I didn't like the idea of allowing her to keep spreading lies while I sat on my hands. I understood his reasoning, though. It wouldn't look good for me during the divorce if I went around sharing her personal messages. So I waited. The divorce came and went. It was relatively simple. We didn't have a lot of assets to split up, and there were no pets or kids to make things complicated. She kept the apartment, which was fine with me. When it was official, I finally put my plan into action. Alicia thought she'd gotten away with everything, but I wasn't about to let her. She wouldn't drag my name through the mud while she played the victim, looking for sympathy. I started by creating a group chat that included all of our family members and mutual friends, everyone that she had lied to. I didn't add any unnecessary commentary, I just stuck with the facts. Since Alicia has been telling everyone I cheated on her, I think it's only fair that the truth comes out. Here's the evidence. Alicia is welcome to post hers. Then I added Alicia to the group chat as well. And then I sent everything. I blacked out all the information that could be used to identify her affair partner, like his name and address. I didn't want to get dragged to court for violating his privacy or anything. It didn't matter anyway. What was left was enough to get the message across. She'd been sleeping with another man while we were married and lying to me the whole time. The group chat blew up immediately. Her family members didn't say anything there, but they texted me privately, asking if it was all true. I assured them that it was. Her parents called too. Her dad apologized and said he couldn't believe that she'd done that. Her mom defended her though, and said that as her ex-husband, I still had a responsibility to protect her honor. According to her, I should have covered for Alicia. I told her that I stopped owing Alicia anything the moment she broke our vows. Alicia left the group chat within 10 minutes. She called me, and she was furious. I told her that I didn't regret what I'd done in the least. She'd been telling everyone that we'd both cheated, and I'd presented my side. Now it was her turn to prove that I'd been cheating too. I listened with some satisfaction as she started crying. We both knew she had nothing to say because there was no affair on my end. Her lies were falling apart around her, and everyone could see it. She still didn't admit that she made up my affair, but she said she wished she could have talked things through before I went ahead to file for divorce. According to her, I'd overreacted by jumping straight to divorce. She claimed she knew a lot of couples who worked through infidelity. I'll tell her I did too, and it always ended the same way. The cheating partner ended up cheating again. The fallout was brutal. Some of her closer friends stuck around with her after that, but our mutual friends mostly cut ties with her. They told me they couldn't trust her. Some of my male friends pointed out how lucky I was that she'd only made up a fake affair. False accusations can get a lot more damaging than that, and once they're out there, it's almost impossible to prove your innocence. I'd never thought about it like that, and the thought unsettled me. I didn't talk to Alicia after that, but I still heard about her from mutual friends and family that cared to update me. Apparently, she had a falling out with some of her family members over the whole issue. Her mom was on her side, but her dad refused to make excuses for her and didn't even want to see her. That was causing some friction with her siblings too. Her brother especially wasn't happy with her. The two of us had always gotten along, and he was pissed to find out that she'd made up the story of me cheating on her. Her sister wasn't happy with her either, but she was trying to get her dad and brother to forgive her. It was a whole mess, and I was glad I didn't have to be in the middle of it. For me, posting all the receipts in the group chat was the best move I could have made. Knowing that the truth was out there and everyone realized just how flimsy Alicia's story was, felt like the only good thing to come out of the divorce. With that out of the way, I was ready to start the process of moving on and putting myself back together. I moved closer to my work, started going to the gym again, and made a few new friends. I won't sugarcoat it, things were tough at first. Being cheated on is never easy to deal with, and no matter how I felt about her toward the end, losing your marriage always hurts. But I think I've come out on the other side now, and I feel better than I have in a long time. It's freeing knowing that you're not sleeping under the same roof as someone who would stab you in the back and say it was your fault. You can't put a price on that kind of peace of mind. It's insane how someone can think the world will just swallow their lies. She went from being the perfect little spouse in everyone's eyes to the girl who cried wolf so hard she lost all credibility. She's left with nothing but her own shame, scrambling to explain a fake narrative that collapsed to the second it met the truth. She's burned every bridge she could, and that's all on her. You didn't just survive this, you made sure the consequences landed exactly where they should, squarely on her. What's the most outrageous excuse or lie someone has ever told to cover their own mistakes? Share your stories with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.